I'd like to go ahead and begin our next drawing, which is going to be a 3D sprocket. As you look at your worksheet, you're going to see two views. One is a front view, and the other view is a section cut AA. And a section cut is when we take an object, we cut it in half, and then we look at it in the direction of the arrows pointing towards the A. And as you can see in that illustration, there is a section view there. Now, as we look at it carefully, this particular drawing has a lot of circles, a lot of diameters, and we're also going to be using several new commands. One of those is called circular, which in AutoCAD terms is called a polar array, which will allow us to draw any geometric shape around a center axis. So to begin the drawing, we're going to look at the front view, and we see in the middle, we see a 32-inch diameter circle, and the next circle out, the next larger circle, it's a 63 diameter. So I'm going to go up to my Start menu, which is the big capital I for Inventor, pull down menu, and go to New. Then I'm going to start out with a standard IPT part. And then we will go to our sketch, and we will select our 2D sketch to begin. Now I'd like to draw this particular gear or sprocket in the XZ plane. So by clicking on the XZ plane, which happens to be our flat plane or horizontal plane, double click and we're ready to start. Now I'd like to start with the 63 diameter circle. So I'm going to go up to my circle command, and I'm going to pick circle and go to my center. When it becomes green, I know I'm on that particular point, and I'm going to put in 63. Hit enter. Now it's huge because it's in metric, so I'm going to go up to the side menu over here on the right, go to the magnifying glass, pull down menu, and look for zoom all. And then I'm going to zoom in with my cursor wheel. As you can see, there it is. Hit escape once, and let's delete the dimension also. We now have our circle. Now what I would like to do next, I would like to go ahead and finish the sketch by clicking on the green Finish Sketch. And also I'd like to zoom again, View, Zoom All. And I'm going to extrude at this point, so that would be a 3D command. So we're going to look for our extrude. And that will be our first icon. So by clicking on this, we can now go in a particular direction. Now I'm also looking here at this point, I'm looking for a direction. And I would like to go to a command called asymmetrical. And the thickness of this particular object, if you look in the section view, has a depth of 30. So we're going to go asymmetrical, and our distance 1 is going to be 15, which is half of that 30. And we'll go the other direction, 15. This will allow us to go even directions and keep the object balanced at the same time. So we'll pick OK at that point. Our next step is to put in the keyway, which is in the center. So this would come off the top surface of this object. So let's click, create sketch, and the diameter of our keyway, if we look on our sheet, is 32. So we'll type in 32. Hit escape, delete the dimension, And now we're ready to put on the top quadrant the actual cutout or the keyway groove. And we're going to do this by going to the line command. And we're going to start at the top quadrant. And I'm looking for something that references that keyway. And I see a leader line pointing to it, 8x2 keyway. Now, if I'm looking at the dimensions, that's telling me it's going up 2 vertically from the quadrant. And then to the right, 4 inches horizontally. And then hit escape and come back with a line command once again. To the left 4 for a total of 8. Now once we have it, we can get rid of those dimensions. We can get rid of the center line. And now we need to connect it into our circle with a line command. So if we come down a distance, let's say 4 to be safe, and 4 on the other side as well at the end of that 4-inch line. Make sure it's vertical. Make sure the line is vertical. And we can now get rid of the dimensions and trim it to look like the actual cutout of the keyway. So we'll go to our trim command, which you can see in our modified toolbar, and we can trim the keyway away like that. Finish sketch. We now have our keyway, and as I look on my section view, I see the keyway goes all the way through the depth of 30. So we can go to extrude, select the keyway, direction 2, and our distance will now be all, as you can see here. We can now finish that. Now our next step after this would be to put in the circular outer shape that you can see, and that is going to be a depth of 12 with a diameter of 189. So what I would like to do next, I want to work off a center plane. So I'm going to go up to my planes, and I'd like to pick a new work plane, and the one I'd like to use is called offset, the second one. So by clicking on the top surface, I want to create one that's halfway down that shaft. So I'm looking at negative 15, which is half of the 30. And then we'll finish that. So now by clicking on this particular surface, I can now create a sketch, and I'm working off the center. So my large circle now, I'm going to look at my right side section view, and at 189 is the outside. So let's go ahead and put the 189 in. And let's go ahead and delete the dimension. And let's go ahead and look at this carefully, because it's made up of several outside notches or teeth. There's 20 to be exact, and they have a 9-inch radius and they're equally spaced. So what I would like to do at this point, I would like to go up to the top quadrant, put a circle in, and it has a diameter of 9, or a radius of 9, which would be a diameter of 18. And then we'll get rid of the dimension, and we can go ahead and trim away half of that particular circle, like that. Now our next step would be to place those teeth in a 360-degree diameter using a command or a pattern called circular pattern. So if I hold my icon there, it will create duplicate sketch geometry arranged in an arc or circular pattern with a center point as our axes. So we're going to go up, let's select our circular pattern, click the geometry, the red geometry arrow, select the circle, and then move over to the right red arrow under axes, and we're bringing this from the center. Now it wants to know, okay, 360 degrees will be our travel in a circular motion, and how many of these do we actually need? We need 20. So by putting the 20 in, we can pick OK. As you can see. And let's see if we can actually trim. And we can, to open up the particular nine-inch radius circles. And then hit escape. As you can see, we have those. Now, as you can see, there's also a dimension of 360. If we come over to the left side and go to work plane, we can actually hide or turn off that dimension. And our next step then is to finish sketch, and we can now extrude. Once again, we're going to be extruding this particular shape using asymmetrical, which allows to go in two directions. And this will have a thickness of total of 12. So we would like to go in a, actually this will have a 6. This will actually be a 6. So we would go 3, actually a radius of 4, so we'd go 2 each direction. And then we would pick that. So we're going to stop the video at this point, take a look at it, examine what we now have, and we will be able to move on from there.